this particular guy had gone into, and he was on live cam P.
Wow.
So he was paying to watch people on live cam.
It's pretty bad.
Yep, it's pretty bad because it's all fake, and so they say, oh yeah, it's right around the corner from your house.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, that they're right up the street from your house, and so it's what it does is for men, it makes them feel, oh, I could run across these people, so it's exciting to men.
Yeah.
And so when he came to see me, he had just gotten a prostitute, and he was married. And so he was in a bad place.
In the modern world, every man has to struggle with sexual sin, especially with stuff online, the P word. And this battle doesn't have to be fought alone. There's many resources for assistance between groups and prayer. And today, I have the pleasure of meeting with Deacon Gamboa, who has a ministry to help men battle the P word. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today, Deacon.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a great opportunity to get some of this information out to men or women who are struggling with lust
Absolutely.
and addictions to sexual sin.
Yeah, it's all too much of a problem in this modern world, and like you said, men and women alike. And it was very nice to hear that you have this ministry, especially when I've heard how many men struggle with it. Mm-hmm. So, for some background for the viewers, are you a cradle Catholic, a convert, revert?
I am. So I am a cradle Catholic. I just was on vacation in Southern California, and I had the opportunity to go back to my celebrate Mass in my baptismal parish, where I was baptized February 21st, 1969. So I am a cradle Catholic, went in and out of Catholic school.
Okay.
I grew up in Oregon, so there weren't a whole lot of Catholic schools available where I lived. But was baptized in California, like I said, 1969, made my first communion in a small town, Cottage Grove, Oregon. And then was confirmed back when I moved back to California. I missed so confirmation was senior year in high school.
Yeah.
I moved back to California my junior year, so I missed confirmation there. Confirmation in California was sophomore year, so I kind of fell into a dead spot. So I had to actually go through RCIA, as it was known back then, because I was already 18. So I was confirmed as an adult,
even though you already gone through all that.
So to speak, for confirmation. And married in California, then we moved to Idaho 31 years ago. But yeah, I've been a cradle Catholic, always been involved with the church in one way or the other. Met my wife in St. Monica's Catholic High School. We were very pro-life, did a lot of marching for life.
Nice. Constantly,
we've never missed the March for Life here in Idaho. We did it in California when we were residents there.
Right.
Have always been involved, like I said, with the church in some aspect.
Was there some point in your life as a Catholic that you kind of had a more internal conversion, kind of got some deep faith?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, as a teenager, I didn't really probably take my faith as serious as I should have. Went to Catholic high school. But again, my wife actually was in campus ministry, and so once I met her, her family went to Mass pretty regularly every Sunday. My folks, for the most part went to Mass, but maybe not as regular as they should have.
Okay.
At that time. So then I started attending Mass with my wife, Monica, and then after we graduated from high school, I was probably about 20 years old, and I had a big a reversion, so to speak. I had a real come to Jesus moment.
Wow, what was that?
Well, I'll tell you, it was so I spoke about this in Cursillo when I gave a talk in Cursillo many years ago. How one day I was down in. So first of all, my wife and I got married when we were 18 years old.
Right.
So we were very early. I wasn't even out of high school when
Oh, wow.
when we got pregnant, and my wife, we got married, and so we've been married since we were 18, and so life was very difficult. You know,
Yeah.
my folks said you're on your own, you know, and her folks pretty much said the same thing. So it was just her and I and our soon-to-be child. So
Oh, wow.
I went to work, and you know, one day we rented this small little apartment above this garage, and in El Segundo, California. And I remember sitting there one day in this garage,
Yeah.
you know, and I had, you know, I was an apprentice electrician, and I had all these Makita girl, you know,
Oh,
Milwaukee girl posters up on my walls, and you know, I had a lot of electrical materials and stuff that I was trying to do side work, anything to feed my family.
Right.
At least that's how I justified it, right?
Justified time in the garage.
Justified time in my garage, and justified the parts that I had that I didn't always pay for.
Ah.
Because I was working, you know, I was working for a guy who was a good man. But like we would have stuff left over, and you know, we'd throw some in there, and then if I had a little side job, I'd grab a little some of the stuff I needed for the side job.
Ah.
Because I had a baby, had a wife, I didn't abort my baby, so it was
Amen.
easy for me to justify my actions.
Okay.
So I'm down in this garage, and this is like I'm 20 years old, probably. Yeah, I think I was 20 years old. I wasn't any older than 20. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there thinking about this, patting myself on the back, how good of a man I am, right? Because providing, and I'm, you know, married my girlfriend, and you know, I'm a
Doing the
father
right
now,
things.
I'm doing the right thing. And then all of a sudden, I just felt this overwhelming sense of darkness. And for about, I just, everything became dark. All of a sudden, my neighbor's shaking me because the garage door was open. There in the front house, we had a neighbor.
Okay.
He came up and was shaking me. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm sobbing.
Was he around when this was happening, or he
Yeah.
just saw you?
He was around while it was happening,
Okay.
but I didn't know. I didn't see him because I'm
Right.
uncontrollably sobbing.
So it's not like you guys were conversing or anything.
He was in his house. I was in the garage.
He saw that.
And there's a distance, right,
Yeah.
between
He could see something wasn't quite right.
Yeah, and I was in the middle of my little garage. I had made a little man cave, you know,
Oh, yeah.
back then, and he was like, did you cut, you know, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you've been crying for the last 25 minutes.
Wow, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, uncontrollable sobbing. And I mean, I was crying, my eyes were red,
Yeah.
and I was like, no, I'm fine, you know. And I walked upstairs, and I told my wife, you know, I'll be right back, I'm gonna take a walk.
Okay.
You know, she was like, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm fine. I walked over to the church,
Yeah.
met a wonderful priest named Father Newcomb, a Nigerian priest, became a really good friend of mine.
Good.
Went to confession, and then from that time on, I've just been walking the path, right?
Good.
Sometimes I slip off the path, right? We all do.
Yeah.
But walking this path of holiness, trying to be as holy as I can. Went to confession, confessed my sins, you know, the pride, the arrogance, you know, this sense of I'm better than everyone else because you know, because I was providing for my family, and I'm this great man because I married my girlfriend who was pregnant. We didn't abort this baby, and so there was just a lot of pride. And so I confessed all this garbage that I was holding on to, and since then I've been trying to be as holy as I can. And I was about 20 years old. So that was my little reversion back. Never left the church. Always went, you know, went to mass, and but I just had, you know, I started to battle that pride, and the Lord shook it from me.
Humbled you real quick.
I'm gonna praise the Lord. Yeah, humbled me real quick.
It's amazing how seeing yourself as God sees you can really help you understand how big He is and how great He is for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you let go and let God, as we say in Cursillo, He'll show you your true self. You know, and if you let Him, He'll He'll rinse you clean, for sure.
Yep, break you down and build you
Yeah.
back up.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord,
Amen.
right? Because if not, we can end up, this pride and this arrogance gets in our way, and then we find ourselves in situations later in life where where these men and women are today.
Mm-hmm.
So
It gets in the way of everything.
yeah. But since then, I've been, and then I had a call early on for the diaconate.
Right.
I think you and I spoke about this before.
We did,
I had an
yeah.
early call. It's funny because I joined. So after I went to confession, our pastor was Father James O'Grady,
Okay.
and this was in El Segundo, St. Anthony's Church in El Segundo, and great man. And I went to him and I said, "Hey, Father, my name." Introduced myself, and because that's the church we went to as early parents with my daughter, and we went every Sunday to mass. But so then I went to him and said, "Hey, I'm back.
Yeah. Here I am.
Here I am. What can I do?" And he goes, "Why don't you join the Legion of Mary?" I was like, "The Legion of Mary sounds like militant." And
Yeah.
I'm a really militant, ordered guy, and so I'm like, "Yeah, great. That sounds great." So I went
Well, I've almost wondered if you were ex-military, honestly.
a lot of people do, and so I went there and I'm like, "Okay, Legion of Mary, this is great. I can, this sounds militant." So I went, and it was very humble. Legion of Mary is very humble in prayer, and being the right arm of the pastor at the parish. He'll ask the Legion of Mary is the pastor's right arm of simplicity and humility in service. They don't do grand things, but they'll do humble things for the priest.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool,
But not what you were thinking.
but not what I was thinking. I mean, it's way cool because you're praying all the time, and I love to pray. But I was like, I'm a doer, so I'm like, what else can I do? So I went back to Father O'Grady. I'm like, "Hey, this is great. What else can I do?"
A lot more.
Yeah, and so he goes, "Oh, I got something for you." And I said, "Okay, great." And I thought, I had just kind of come back, so I was like, okay, maybe coffee and donuts, or help me doing some, he knows I'm a worker, so maybe I'll get to trim the trees or whatever. He sent me door to door.
Right, on your census?
On my little, and he says, "We're going to call it a census."
Yeah.
He goes, "I want you to go door to door, knock on the door. Are there any Catholics here? Yeah or no. Take their name, tell them you're doing a census, Then you pray with them. You'll have an opportunity to hear their story and start to pray with them." And I realized when I started going door to door how much I didn't know about the faith. I was like, at first I was like, "Yeah, this is great." Then
Got it all?
After the second door, I was like, "I'm in way over my head." I'm in way over my head. So I really dove into my faith.
Okay.
Learning what the church teaches. Reading the church fathers. Many people do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get in there, we get the intellectual aspect of the faith. So I really started diving into it. I did that census thing for about 4 years almost.
4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because, it's not a small place, and I would keep going back and forth, And so we'd take some time off, and he'd send me back out doing other things. But about 4 years I did the census.
Wow.
And it was an incredible experience to really get to know people. Like, you just knock on the door.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, are there any Catholics here?" And then they're upset with the church, upset with this priest that did this, and his homily stunk, and so we left, and we blah blah blah. The music wasn't good at this parish, so I've heard it all.
Yeah.
But it really helped me to grow in my faith, right, and learn my faith, and then really take what I've learned in the books and pray for the wisdom and intercession of the saints to help me to grow in love, right?
Yeah.
And love and holiness for these people whom I encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And try real hard not to get prideful of what I've learned.
Yeah.
In the books, right?
It's always challenging.
It's always challenging, right? You always want to one up somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but it was really humbling because there were people that know more than me.
Absolutely.
That I met. They're not. They might be fallen away Catholics, but they're educated Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or they're Protestants, or they're Jewish, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
It really was a great experience. And then after that, we moved up here to Idaho, and the call never went away for the diaconate.
Right.
But within that, we had my son in California, and we moved here. My daughter was third grade. My son wasn't even in school yet. He was 3 years old. So the kids were young, and so
Yeah.
my wife and I, we would have this. We do this. I call it this little dance around my call.
Yeah.
The time was right. It wasn't right. The kids are small. The kids are middle-aged. They're in junior high. They're in high school. And it used to kind of bother me because the Lord kept having this call, but it never really seemed to work out for my family. And some people aren't like that. I mean, we have deacons who have many kids, and they were deacons going through formation when the kids were little. But for me personally, it just seems like we always had to wait. And at one point, I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
I went at St. John. I was at St. John's. We were at St. John's for 25 years, and I knelt down in front of the altar and said, "You got to make something happen, or leave me alone, because I'm
Right.
tired of this conversation I'm having with my wife all the
Mm-hmm.
time." Very devout. I mean, at that point, I was daily mass. My wife was
Yeah.
daily mass.
People were telling you.
She was a catechist. She'd been a catechist for almost 30 years. I mean, it's not like we weren't active in the church, right?
Right.
And so there was a lot of times I even went to talk to some priests, and they're like, "Well, you're doing a lot already. Why do you have to be a deacon?" But I was like,
Right.
"Okay, that's great, but I still feel this call
Right.
to something else."
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard to put your finger on it because I am doing a lot. With it, I was one of Monica's catechists all the time, and nights at Columbus, I was two-term past grad night. I mean, I was training the altar boys. So it wasn't
doing the
like
things,
we weren't
yeah.
doing things, but I saw that call, and so I went to work, and I went to mass, and went to work, and then the gospel is like, whoever puts his hand to the plow and looks back isn't worthy of the kingdom of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow, this is powerful. This is, like, I'm ready to give my life to the church, but there's, so I called my wife. I'm like, "Hey, read the gospel today," and okay. And I said, "We'll talk when I come home." So I came home, and she's like, I go, can we just talk about this
Yeah.
whole thing? It's not that she wasn't, not like she didn't want me to be a deacon. She just,
Wasn't the
because
right
your wife
time,
has to
yeah.
be on board.
Right.
Like, if she's not, they won't take you.
Right.
So if there's any apprehension, and I trust in that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I believe in that. But, so I went there, and she's like, "I'm ready."
Just like that.
Just like that. "I'm ready." I'm like, "Great. Now let's sign up before we change our mind."
Right.
But yeah, so and then I went into formation. I was ordained in 2018,
Nice.
and I was wondering, I had so many. A part of my pride, I struggle with pride. Part of my pride was, Lord, I could have been doing so much for had I been
Yeah.
ordained 20 years ago. Why did you wait so long to make this happen? It's
Right.
my pride, right? My stupidity. But now I'm to the point where, like, the Lord, it's His time.
Mm-hmm.
I went through, had my businesses and blah, 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 learned all this stuff to be where I'm at today,
Right.
right? So it's in His time, and I'm very thankful that I'm ordained, and He
Good.
called me when I did, and my wife said yes when she did, because everything's worked out perfectly.
Could have planned it better yourself.
Couldn't have planned it better myself, right?
Well, thank you for sharing all that, Deacon. It was
Yeah.
definitely nice to hear that, and didn't know all of that. It was beautiful. What inspired you to start this ministry to help people with the P word and sexual sins?
Yeah, so are we not allowed to say the P word?
We can't. YouTube doesn't like that.
Okay, so the P word. Okay, so good to know. One day I met a guy. He was probably, at the time when I met him, 78 years old.
Okay.
And we were talking one day, and he had asked me, "You know anywhere I can get some help for the P word?"
Okay.
I was like, well, how long have you been looking at P? And he said, since I was 10 years old. And real quick did the math, 68 years.
It's a long time.
68 years, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't. It didn't even cross my mind at that time for me to even think about a ministry like that. So, but what happened is it triggered me in my mind. I'm like, 10 years old, that seems kind of young.
Especially for back then.
For back then, right? Exactly. So I started doing research on P, right?
Okay.
Like, how long has this been around? And it start, you go back and they went and I started reading these books and these articles on the P, and it went all the way back to, early magazine pictures that had, like, you and I, if we saw that today, it would be like a cartoon.
Okay.
But back then it was P.
It's pretty raunchy stuff.
It's pretty raunchy stuff,
Yeah.
but I mean, it wasn't even terribly raunchy though. If you look at it today, you're like, compared to today's
Yeah.
P, you're like, that's a cartoon, right? So I started reading that up, and then as I was reading, I remember thinking about my experience, right?
Yeah.
Because my dad was a barber. My dad came from most of his brothers were barbers.
Interesting.
My dad was from a large family, one of 12 children, and a lot of them were barbers.
Okay.
And so back in the 70s, barbershops used to have magazines, adult magazines for men.
Okay.
So when they get a haircut, they're looking at the magazines. It was the 70s, right? And I can remember, I started thinking back to my life. I'm like, oh, I remember when my friends and I snuck into my dad's barbershop to get a gander at these magazines.
Sneaking in just for that.
And this was the 70s. I was probably, I don't know, 70, 77, 78, so I was 10,
Yeah.
11, somewhere in there. And I remember sneaking in there, and I don't remember, there was 4 of us. And I remember thinking, as I'm thinking, I talked to my wife about this too, and I told her, I said, it's amazing. I started thinking after talking to this guy, and researching all this stuff, I started thinking about my own experience. Because they were in these articles are saying, like, this gets etched into your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I started thinking, I told my wife, I remember this, the very first time that I saw an image. Let's just say I was 11, because I think it was about that time. There were 4 of us, myself and my 3 best friends.
Okay.
I cannot tell you those guys' names today, right? Because they were just friends. I called them my best friends, but they were just friends.
Acquaintances.
The 4 of us went in there. I can't remember their name, but I remember the image I saw. To this day, it's etched in my head.
Yeah.
And if I let myself go back there, I can remember the image. Right? And so I'm sitting there thinking, man, this poor guy has had so many images, etched into his brain. I mean, he must really be struggling. So then I started going deeper into this a pandemic, the true pandemic of P, and so I started thinking to myself, is there anyone for these people to talk to?
Right.
And I looked around, and nothing here in Boise, right?
Right.
In this Treasure Valley area. So then I started looking at other things. There's a lot of resources online, and so I started looking at those resources and watching. I started really diving deep. There's articles after articles after articles, and then got on to Covenant Eyes, which is a Christian-based, almost a Catholic Christian-based software that you can put on your computer.
Oh wow!
And you have a partner who everything you look at, he sees. Not the actual, because I'm the I can't remember.
They can like see the URLs and stuff. Or...
I'm trying to remember what it's called. Sponsor, almost like a sponsor for AA. So what it is when they're looking at something, it'll alert me, and I go back. It's all blurred out, but I can see like, okay, there's these sites that they're visiting. So then I reach out to them. Hey, brother, like you need to talk.
Right.
And so I'm actually I can't remember what it's called. A sponsor for many. I can't. It's
The Anchor?
no. It's called
Stylus?
no.
Stylus?
So I'll get to that later. But
Okay.
Accountability partner.
Ah.
Accountability partner. So I'm accountability partner for many guys.
Right.
So when I see something, I call them up. Hey, you're slipping. So anyways, so then I got hooked in with Covenant Eyes in the beginning, and then I said, we need something local.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on and just went to a bunch of different sites and tried to tailor something that I could use here, right?
Okay.
Because I think every method is different for different locations, right? Chicago might have a different method, Alaska might have different. Like I try to tailor something to the men here.
Right.
I don't work with women, right? Because that's just a whole
That's
different.
fair.
That's a whole other thing, and they have their own problems. I'll get to that later.
Alright.
But I always try to find a woman to try to help the women. But so anyway, so I made a program, and put it in the bulletin one day. Hey, if you're struggling with porno, with P, sorry,
Yeah.
with P,
Sorry.
give me a call.
Yeah. How long ago
Send
was
me an
this?
email. This is probably 5 years ago.
Right. Okay.
5 years ago, and didn't hear a peep. That went on for probably a year
A year.
to a year and a half, and I would get somebody who would send me an email, but I can understand why,
Yeah, it's hard to.
right? Because if it's got a really negative outlook, right? So
Mhm.
people are like, oh, I look at P, so I'm a bad person.
Right.
But right now, it's about 83% of men have an issue with P. 83%. That's high.
still a
It's like
lot. Yeah, that's a
83 to
lot.
87% of men have a problem with P. Now, at different degrees, right?
Yeah.
Some are highly addictive. But 83 to 87% of men frequently use porn
Wow.
with P. P. And so then when I saw these. And when I saw that the youngest age is 8 when they're introduced to P.
That's like on average, I'm guessing. So there's probably even younger.
On average. So I started thinking, I need to do something.
Mhm.
So that's when I started the same in the bulletin. And but about a year to a year and a half, finally I got a person said, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
Sure, come on in. So then I spoke to this person came in, and he was in a bad spot.
Okay.
He had gone from looking at P to, so what happens is you go in degrees, right? You start with a magazine,
Mhm.
then you start with, online pictures. Pictures aren't doing it, so then you go into maybe HBO movies, you
Yeah.
know. And then you get into, you start going on the web, and you start looking at P, and then before you know it, you're into that for a long time. Well, that's not doing it for you. So then you start
Right.
going into other aspects of P and radical P,
Get very dark, very
violent
quick.
P. Then you end up on the dark web P. This particular guy had gone into, and he was on live cam P.
Wow.
So he was paying to watch people on live cam.
It's pretty bad.
Yep, it's pretty bad because it's all fake, and so they say, "Oh, yeah, it's right around the corner from your house,"
Oh, yeah.
like, "Oh, that they're right up the street from your house," and so it's what it does is for men, it makes them feel, oh, I could run across these people, so it's exciting to men.
Yeah.
And so when he came to see me, he had just gotten a prostitute, and he was married. And so he was in a bad place.
A lot of sin attached to
A lot
him.
of sin, a lot of porn use, P use. Sorry.
It's okay, a little slip in here, not bad.
Yeah. And so, my heart broke for him.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly broke for him. Got him into confession right away. I said, "Look, we're going to go through this. You're not leaving here today until I'll get you a priest for
Right.
confession." Went to confession. We started a whole program
Okay.
of just some spiritual direction. Not a counselor, but I understand real life, right? I understand men because I'm a man.
Yeah.
So I understand men. I understand our desires. And I don't pretend like, I don't ever pretend that, you just pray it away.
Right.
That's not real. I mean, prayer is absolutely the foundation
Right.
of recovery.
It's very crucial.
Very crucial. But there's also, concrete things that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
In order to overcome this situation. So I told him, how are you looking at it? Oh, my phone. Okay, you need to get a flip phone.
It's a quick way.
And right away, well, I need this for work. No, you don't.
Been working without him
Nah, you
for
don't.
many years.
I hate my phone. I would rather have a flip phone. I said, just get a flip phone. And what about at home? Why our computer? And I'm like, my laptop. Where at? In my bedroom. Put it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Just concrete things. If you want to get better, this is what you need to do. And then we're gonna continue to work through all this stuff, but you need to take concrete steps today
Right.
to start
Just like
accountability for yourself,
Yeah.
right?
And alcoholics and drug addicts, first thing
Yeah.
they do is throw it all out.
Right. So it started to kick off, right? I started to think, all right, this is great. I got one person,
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like if we can just get one person and he'll tell somebody, blah, blah, and it'll just kind of go. So then the next call I got was concerned parent. I'm like, oh.
Interesting.
So the parent called me, from somewhere else in Treasure Valley, not even from our parish. They said that somebody recommended their son to come speak to me.
Okay.
So he came in, and he had a long time. I mean, this is a young boy, 15, 14 when I met him. Well, yeah, 15, probably 15. Had been using pornography for a very long time.
Okay.
And men don't look at pornography for the art. It's
No.
a means to
an
their end.
Yeah.
And you can fill in the gaps. And so this young boy was really, really addicted to it. And so we had a lot of work to do with him. So we met quite a bit. I always let them decide how often they want to meet. So with this young boy, we met quite a bit. And he's managed to get out of it.
How bad was he?
Really bad.
You have a frequency?
Yeah. So, I asked him, like, how often did you, look at pee? And he would say 8 times a day,
It's a lot.
and
Mhm.
how long, how often did you use it as a means to your end a day? As much as I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the thing is when, especially a young child, when they're doing that, I mean, they have it's almost even hard to call it sin at that moment, at that time, because they're not fully formed yet.
And they're just sucked right
They're
into
just
it.
sucked right into this thing, and so it's hard for them to determine, what is right, what is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I never neglected to tell them it's sin, right?
Yeah.
But you have compassion,
Yeah.
because it dominates their life. Because what happens is, when we're intimate with our wives, these neurons go off in our heads, and that makes us desire our wife, our
Right.
intimacy, closeness. You begin bonded with your wife through intimacy, and then it just, after a while, intimacy isn't that bond; it's the love that that you have with your wife, just being near her is enough.
Right.
But nonetheless, our brains, when we're intimate with our wives, our brains shoot off all these things in our head, and we just bond with each other.
Right.
Well, when you're looking at P, and on top of that, gratifying yourself, you become bonded to these images.
Right.
And so, as time goes on, you look at this, you gratify yourself, and so this becomes, instead of a spouse, it's this.
Yeah.
Right? And so for a young boy who's not even fully developed,
He's already in love.
he's already in love with this stuff, and so trying to retrain, so you're going back to pretty much rewiring the brain. I have different techniques that I use, with them, and concrete measures as well. But over the years that we met, this there's, you slip every now and then.
Oh, yeah.
They slip, people slip. But for the most part, he's been sober
Wow.
from P, for quite a few years now.
Wow.
And he's off to college now, but
Oof.
I know, yeah. So and then we met, it's like, be careful, but he has managed to use everything, like I gave him very specific things to do. Mortification's huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, obviously cold showers. I said, but before that, sleep on the bed, instead of sleeping in your bed, sleep on the floor. Use just a sheet versus a blanket. Really try to mortify yourself physically, so that you can overcome these desires that are in your head.
Can you go in depth a bit of how that works?
Yeah. So we want to. So a lot of the saints, practice radical mortification.
Yeah, very
right?
radical.
Hair shirts, and they'd flog themselves, or they'd put a band on their thigh, and they would tighten the thing up, and it would tighten up on their leg, and fasting from food, or from drink and stuff like that. And so I always tell these guys, what kind of mortification do you do? What do you mean? I'm like, well, do you fast?
Yeah.
Nope. Do you obviously they don't fast from their device. So I explained to them what it is, because we practice prayer, mortification.
And so how does the mortification benefit?
So what it does is, like, when you're in bed, you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? And you get your phone, you're just like flipping through this thing, and you're comfortable. But if you're on the floor, your mind is more focused on trying to get comfortable in different spots you're not going to get comfortable in.
Yeah.
Right? And so I tell them, when you're on the floor, sleeping on the floor, offer that up for your inordinate desires you're having.
Right. Offer
Right?
it up to
You're
God.
praying, and you're saying, Lord, I offer up this mortification for my inordinate desires that are plaguing me right now.
Yeah.
And I tell them it's okay to pray to God, to talk to Christ, and say, I want to look at P right now.
Yeah.
I want to gratify myself, but I love you more. And I'm laying on this ground tonight for you, for me, for my sins. And the Lord will take care of you after that. But you have to offer this up to him, or, I tell them, sleep, if you're going to sleep on your bed, sleep without a pillow. Something that you can offer up your discomfort to overcome your sin, your vices, right? Your desires that are really working inside of you.
Yeah.
And pray, mortification, and then concrete steps to eradicate this stuff out of your life. But the mortification is huge, because most of the time, especially for younger people, but even for the older people, it's not a well-ordered life.
Yeah.
There's really chaos, and so, like for instance, some of the guys like, so, they're single. How long do the dishes sit in your sink? They're like, I never wash dishes. There's piles of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. And I can start, and I ask them questions like, do you make your bed every day? Never. How many times a week, do you shower every day? Not every day. And so I start working, okay, we got to get your life in order first. Let's get your life in order, because that will spill out into your spiritual life as well.
Absolutely.
And it'll spill out into this, and once it spills into your spiritual life, then you can start developing a well-ordered life in your head too, right? You can start to say, I don't need this stuff.
Yeah.
So I always, there's a whole series of questions that I ask them, and then we work on different things. Now, there could be some people who have really well-ordered lives and still are addicted to pee. And so then we we approach it a different way. But typically, I would say probably 70% of the young men and men that I talk to, they don't have a well-ordered life.
Yeah, especially young men, I could see that.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I really work at like, I don't want you to be a monk, right? You don't have to be a monk, but wash your dishes. You eat something, wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Put it away. You start to order your life. Get up, take a shower, make your bed, right? Turn your bed down. Kneel down for prayer, hang your crucifix, just everything. It's like, make your coffee, rinse before you leave, wash your coffee pot. So you just get them to start to order lives so that because a well-ordered life, I mean, remember what they said about Mary Magdalene, she had 7 demons and more will come.
Yep.
Right, but if you have a well-ordered life, that's for 7 more will come in an unordered life. But if you're well-ordered, you get rid of them, right? And then you can clean your house and focus on recovery, prayer. So it's a long process. It is a long process, but mortification is huge.
Interesting.
I mean, I do that. In my own life. I mean, there's things I do to keep myself ordered.
Right.
By 3:30 in the morning, I'm up.
Wow.
I'm up. I wake up at about 3:30. I might get out of bed 3:45, and I leave my house by 6:15 to be at work. So that time from 3:45 to 6:15, I'm in prayer.
Right.
Or spiritual reading.
Yeah.
Then I pray my rosary on the way in. Then I come here, I go to Mass, daily Mass, and then my day starts. If I didn't do that, my day would be
utter chaos.
It'd be chaos.
Yeah, same here. I don't wake up at 3:30, but I wake up before everyone's awake, and I get my prayer, spiritual reading in the morning, and I'm a better dad, better husband.
Absolutely.
And for a while there, I was doing that Monday through Friday before work. It was easy keeping schedule, and I would sleep in on the weekends, and I wasn't happy. No one was happy when I would wake up. I would be a grumpy pants compared to the other days. So I got tired of that. I just started waking up at the same time, and it's a whole better family dynamic, better household, better for myself and others.
And you're the spiritual leader of your house, right? I mean, so if you have a well-ordered life, you're gonna have a well-ordered family life.
Absolutely.
Right? And you don't want your kids to be soldiers. That's not what the Lord doesn't want us to be forced into loving Him.
Right.
But if they see you love Him, they will love Him. They'll want to be just like their father and mother. So I mean, you gotta have prayer. You gotta be well ordered. You have to have some kind of routine. A lot of these guys too, it's like, what time do you wake up? Well, I have to be at work at 9. Well, what time do you wake up? 8:30.
Yeah.
How the heck are you getting prepared?
I've never understood that.
To leave for work at 9 at 8:30 in the morning and waking up, you just so obviously you're not showering. Maybe they showered the night before, but just like they throw clothes on and they just run out the door. I'm like, that's not That's not a well-ordered life.
Nope.
I said, and so some of the mortification is, okay, I want you to wake up an hour early. And they're like, an hour? It's like, well, I go to bed late. Well, why? Well, no, you're looking at P.
Yep.
So if you want to look at P, start waking up an hour early. Then they realize that I can't be looking at P till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So then they start going, well, I'll look at P until midnight. And then we start working on like, okay, now wake up an hour and a half early. So then they start, so it's just, I do this kind of reverse thing to try to get them to see that you can survive without it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can survive without it. The Satan's telling you can't.
Yeah.
And you've trained yourself that you have to gratify yourself 3-4 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, you don't.
Right.
Right? But your brain tells you, I need this. When our the brain tells them, oh, work is stressful, you have to do this. And you feel better because you do. Right?
It's
when
true.
you're intimate with your wife, you feel good after.
It's a lot
right?
different though than like you said earlier.
It's simple. Right, but it's love, right?
Yeah.
They don't understand this.
Right.
To them, it's just, I'm gratified, I feel fine.
Right.
Till the next stressful moment in the day, they gratify themselves again. Till the next stressful, they gratify themselves again. And what's interesting is as they're doing this, they are making, if they're married, they are getting themselves to the point where their wife isn't a big part of their doesn't fulfill their physical what's the word? It doesn't fulfill them physically. They have to look at this stuff.
Yeah.
And I tell them right away, it's like, for brother, it's all fake.
Mm-hmm.
I've read so many articles. It takes, you watch these videos, and first of all, no band can do this. That's impossible. And then so they take, it's like, roll it, stop, and they just put this thing together and they make this video.
Yeah.
It's not reality.
Exactly.
So what you're looking at is not real.
That's interesting. That just really got me because it's just like I know with the videos like how much editing on my side goes in with this stuff, but that's interesting with the roll it, stop.
They're pros, Mike.
Because it's
go, stop.
I've got to say, I've always wondered, and that makes
because
that's interesting, yeah.
Because and so what happens? They're looking at this, and I tell them, I'm like, your wife would never do that.
No.
And why would you want her to?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Why would you want your bride to act like that?
Mm-hmm.
And why would you want to act like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because this isn't what you're seeing is not going to happen in your bedroom.
No.
Because
doesn't happen.
Your wife has dignity, right? You have dignity
Mm-hmm.
as a child of God. What these poor people are doing on video, most of them are addicted to drugs.
Mm-hmm.
They're human trafficked. I mean, they're somebody's granddaughter, somebody's daughter, somebody's son.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm like, so what you're looking at is completely unreal. And so what happens is they look at this stuff, and then they lose desire for their spouse. And so they can't even be intimate with their spouse because they've lost that desire, so things don't work like they should. Literally, yeah. And so they have to go do this in order to go into the bedroom with their wife, their spouse, man or woman.
Yeah.
And so it's a vicious cycle. It's just a cycle that you have you're fighting. Then you have these desires. You're fighting. You fall. Then you have remorse. If you're Catholic, you go to confession, and it's just this vicious cycle. And that's exactly where Satan wants you, because it's chaos.
Yeah. He likes chaos.
He loves chaos. And so the longer he can keep you in this vicious cycle, just going around and around and around and around, you never get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So until you actually tell yourself, I'm done. Right? I need help.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to talk to, you know, and that's where I come in.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm just somebody who can talk to you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I know.
I'm not. I'm not gonna say, you know, oh, it's okay. You know, I'm gonna say, you're screwing your life up. You're gonna be in a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna lose your job. You're gonna lose your wife. You're gonna lose your kids. You're gonna lose everything that you thought was so important in your life. Your quads, your boats, your campers, your cabins, everything. It's all gonna go away.
Over 5 seconds of fun.
Yeah, if you keep going down this path. And if you're single, I'm going to say it'll be so difficult for you to find someone that you love.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find someone you love, but you'll never be faithful to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, in this, like I've had guys that have come and they said, you know, I'm getting married. I'm like, and I get nervous because I'm like, she's not going to be an answer to your problem.
Because a lot of men see marriage as a fix.
Sometimes they seem like, oh, if I just get married, then I'll be
chaste husband.
I'll be having intimacy with my wife. So everything, but that's not necessarily true. Now it can happen,
Right.
right? But for the most part, I'm like, and I tell them, are you prepared to tell your wife how addicted you are to pee?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't tell her that. So then you're starting your marriage on a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And how is your marriage going to even be sacramental, which it's not,
Right.
if you're hiding something, right? I mean, how do you enter a marriage where you have this problem and you don't reveal that problem to your future wife? Well, she won't marry me. Well, neither would I.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, how are you going to, right off the bat, she already feels like she's not going to be enough for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, I mean, I'm honest with them. I tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a good possibility you're going into a marriage that could fail, because when she finds out your lie, she's going to be disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it could be the other way around. Could be a woman.
Yeah.
You know, 43% of women have an issue with pee.
That's quite a bit.
So it has snuck up. It used to be 18 to 22. Now they're at 43%.
It's almost 1 in 2.
I read an article that by 2032 or 35, that 65% of women will be single because of pee.
Because of pee.
Well, they don't need a husband because they can self-gratify themselves. They don't have to clean up after a husband. They don't have to cook for a husband. You know, they can have one-night stands, right? So they're going to be single because they have the world at their fingertips, right? They can just do whatever. They can self-gratify themselves. They don't have to put the work in to be a wife.
There's so much depth in that statement.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just this. I'm not going to get into it, but it's just
It's really
That's-
it's
wow.
a strange phenomenon.
the whole world is in shambles.
The whole world, the secular world,
Mm-hmm.
will give you whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
right?
You can have it, but you won't be satisfied.
Yeah, you'll never be satisfied, right? You're going to be just constantly searching, right? Our hearts are restless
Until they rest in you.
right? St.
Yeah.
Augustine. And he was the poster child for secular life.
Oh yeah, I've been reading his confessions.
I mean, he
Ooh.
was living life.
He was doing the things.
You know,
he was still not happy.
and he's still, and neither are we, right?
Mhm.
Neither are the guys that I speak to. You know, I don't share their problem at
Right.
all, but I understand, right? Because I said that
We're men.
image is etched in my mind.
Mhm.
You know, and men have sexual thoughts like constantly. We're just men. That's, you know,
Especially in this
women are not
hypersexualized culture.
Women are not like men. You know,
Nope.
they could just lay down and hold us all night long, and we're like, you know, I'm ready to go to sleep or ready to be intimate. There's two options.
Yeah.
Where they're like, no, I like the third one where we just cuddle. It's like, okay.
Well, actually,
But-
my wife heard a study that women are more sexually aroused or easily sexual aroused than men.
They are.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
They're more easily?
Yeah, more easily, more
Interesting.
frequently. But that's another topic.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
topic. But anyway, so I mean, again, it's the world we live in today is overly sexualized,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to constantly guard our eyes and guard our children's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Custody of the eyes, custody of the ears. It's a constant work to do it, and you have to you can walk down the street and girls are, all of a sudden, tight yoga pants is fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not fashion. That's workout gear, if that.
Yeah.
When I was younger, the girls used to wear baggy sweats. Now it's like the tightest pants they could find and the tightest shirt they can find. And for young guys and older guys as well,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have custody of the eyes, it just leads you on to
Alright.
more things.
What's even simple things? So on our way home from Mass, we used to go a certain route to get to the freeway, but this new store opened up, and they've got this big old anime chick on the side. We've got 3 little boys,
Mhm.
and so now we have to take a different route because I
Yeah.
just, like you say, it's imprinted, ingrained, and it's just
Custody of the eyes.
I don't need them seeing
No.
that, and it's
Not at all. When my son was younger, we'd go to the store, and one day we were standing in the line to check out, and I turned around to see him, and his eyes are big, I'm like, what's he? I thought he was looking at candy. I turned around, he's looking at the Cosmopolitan,
oh yeah,
and I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, come on,
I'll have to be mindful of that.
so keep your eyes focused, over here. And then after we talked, he's like, it's like, Dad, why do they, I'm like, and I explained to him, like, what did you think of those,
Right.
magazine covers? It's like, they're really pretty ladies, I said, yeah, but I said, you don't objectify women. They're objectifying women.
Yeah.
They're treating women, they're selling women to you, to me, to men,
Mm-hmm.
and the women, they're selling to the women, like, you have to look like this in order to get a man.
Another unrealistic
It's
expectation.
another unrealistic expectation. And so I said, let's just have custody of our eyes. Let's avert our eyes when we get to the line. Just stay focused. Keep your face down on the food going through there. Blah blah blah.
How old was he at this time?
Probably 9,
Yeah.
9, 10,
Okay.
somewhere in there. But But I'm getting back to what you said. I mean, you're doing the right thing as a father.
Thank you.
You're like, we can't come this route.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you a story. Another guy that came to me, he says, I have a problem, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, tell me about, what do you do in the morning? Well, I get up, I take this route. And it's really hard because I pass by this, one store that has, lingerie,
Mhm.
and all this stuff. I'm like,
Go
you go by there every day. Yeah. Pick a different route.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, but that's the shortest route. I'm like, it's the shortest route to hell, too. I'm like, pick a different route.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't really think about that.
It's a simple thing. So
I mean, it's a very simple thing. Concrete, though, like, pick a different route. Don't go down that path anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, it's like, that's helping. It's not fixing it yet, but it's a concrete exercise
Mm-hmm.
for him on his way to sobriety.
Yeah.
It's like, just pick a different route.
And that mindset change can help him lead to other things that he says, I just
Absolutely.
need to do this and that. Simple.
Yeah, go to the self-checkout, man. They don't have the magazines at self-checkout. All they have is that little, I hate self-checkout, right? Because I'm like, I want to interact with a person.
Yeah.
But for people who struggle with this, go to the self-checkout.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the magazines there. They're only the ones, because there you're in and out.
Mm-hmm.
The ones where you're trying to sell the magazines where you're just stacked up, right?
Yeah.
They're waiting because you're there for 15 minutes. So then you can start
Looking around.
and they pick it up and go to the self-checkout. Zip through there and get out,
Mhm.
as fast as you can. So there's things that, very simple things that we don't think about that can help,
Right.
order your life properly,
Right.
Yeah, it's great. It's
It
and
is.
it's the same thing with women.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Women have, I talk to my cousins, and they have young daughters, and I tell them, put covenant eyes on their phone. I said, you might not think so, and I know you see your daughter as your cute little daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be her. It's going to be someone introducing it to her.
Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
Okay, and then, or somebody will send her a video or a picture,
Mm-hmm.
and then she's introduced to it, he or she is introduced to it, and then they'll go search it themselves. But if you put this on, they can alert you,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have that conversation right away.
That's the biggest thing.
Rather than thinking my daughter or son's an angel, they are.
They are.
They're angels, right? But they do dumb things,
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's our job to make sure that we try to help them,
Yeah.
right? So it's not that you want to catch them and, aha, caught you,
No, it's important to
It's
talk
important
to them and
talk
talk
to
them through it.
right? Talk them through it. Explain to them what's reality, what's not.
Mm-hmm.
What's objectifying women, what's not. What's objectifying men, and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the dignity of a woman, the feminine genius of a woman.
Yeah.
All these things that the church we have at our disposal to help educate our children in this stuff, and get it early.
That's a big thing, like you said, with your son in the magazine of objectification and the women objectifying themselves and men being objectified too, because we also suffer from that in a sense of these unrealistic expectations. But
Sure.
getting in front of it to talk with the child to help them understand what they're looking at and process it
Right.
and what to think about it and what's actually going on. Because like you said, it's all unrealistic.
It's totally unrealistic. I mean, these young girls who, because the young girls see the young boys
Mm-hmm.
looking at pee,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh, they like that.
So if I like it, they'll like me.
So if I do that, they're gonna like me. Yeah, sure, they're gonna like you, but they're never gonna love you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what I tell, I told my daughter, like, no man's gonna love you if you just, are open.
Mm-hmm.
I said they'll like you because they get something. But if a man loves you, he's gonna wait. He's gonna sacrifice himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to treat you like a queen. He's gonna respect you when you say no.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna throw a fit like a baby. All
gonna
these
be a
things.
man.
I mean, he's gonna be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, nowadays these poor girls, and I will say poor girls. I mean, a lot of people say like, oh well, we have free will, and they should be smarter than that. But you know how it is in I do not want to relive high school, where you have to try to fit in with you gotta have images, everything, the right clothes for everything,
Mm-hmm.
your hairstyle. I mean, high school can be a horrible place, to be honest.
It really is.
It really can, because if you're just different, I mean, you stick out.
Yeah.
So these girls want to fit in, and all the cool guys are looking at pee, and so they want to be just like that.
Mm-hmm.
They think that's what they have to do in order to get a guy.
Right.
And so it can be a very sad, sad state of life when these poor boys and girls
Mm-hmm.
think that's what they have to do in order to be loved.
Just really muddies everything up.
It does, and it just lines you up for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're doing that in high school, when you get in later in young adults, it's even worse.
Yep.
It's even worse. And then a lot of them, they get to the point where they have no self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
They become promiscuous. Nobody loves me, so I might as well just go have fun.
Yeah.
Or they become the 65% of women who are just going to be single.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of women.
It's crazy. It really is. Just when I read that, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what?
That's the curse.
So our
of
population
this?
growth is going to go way down, right? So we're going to have all these unmarried women, unmarried men,
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're unmarried, you're not going to try to get pregnant. That's the last thing you're going to do.
Right.
You know, so our population growth will go down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because nobody's having children. You know, so we're going into a really strange time. But I do see change. I mean, I see young families like yours. I mean, growing families. I see a lot of young families in the pews.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely baby season out here.
It's definitely baby season. So I have a lot of hope.
Yeah.
I have a lot of hope. God is in control, but
Absolutely.
but I think education is everything. You can't just. You know, I always I've heard this before. I didn't make this up, but you know, I don't remember where I heard it from, but I like to use it like it's my own. If you think, how's it go? If you think you can fight sexual temptation, you're godlier than David, stronger than Samson,
wiser
than Solomon.
Yeah.
Right? Because these are all great biblical figures who all fell.
Uh-huh.
Right? So, you know, we have to be smart. You know, we have to take custody of ourselves.
We have to lean on God.
Because I mean, this is not something you can't overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain, when you look at it and you self-gratify yourself, your brain tells you you need it, right? It's like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Who drinks? Your brain tells you need a drink.
Yeah.
You know, if you smoke pot, your brain tells you need pot,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you look at pee, your brain tells you got to look at pee, and you have to gratify yourself in order to get through a day,
Yeah.
right? So once you rewire yourself and turn yourself over to God, abandon yourself, abate yourself completely over to God, He will be your rock,
right,
and your salvation. I mean, He will get you through it. You just have to give up yourself, let go and let God.
Yeah.
You know.
So what are some of the spiritual forces at play? You've mentioned a few things.
Obviously, you know, one of my favorite books is the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
Right, and in that, I mean, you know, he talks about all the pleasures of the world, how we seek these pleasures of the world constantly, right? So I mean, there's obvious demonic forces, right? When we start giving into these demonic forces, the people who make pornography are godless people, right? In fact, what's interesting though is there's I can't remember which hub it was. I don't think it was P-Hub. It was some other site, but it's a Jewish rabbi owns it.
I've heard of that. I think it was P-Hub.
Was it P-Hub?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Jewish rabbi owns P-Hub, and I'm like, how's that possible? Godless. Right? You got to be godless. You have to be soulless and godless to create this stuff. So obviously, the people. It's
not necessarily anti-Semitic in that case.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, it's just that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of his relatives are like shocked. Right?
Yeah.
But you know, because you know, our Jewish brothers and sisters are not godless.
No.
But I say the people who create this stuff are godless. They're demons, right? I mean, they're just demons because they're stealing souls, right? When they create this content, and then little kids, 8-year-olds, get addicted to it. That's what they want. They want you addicted to it, right? So when the pandemic came out in 2020.
You already forget about that?
Yeah, I try to forget about it every day. So when the so-called pandemic came out, P-Hub in the country of Italy gave P free. You could
not
sign
out of charitable
up for
love.
free. I think it was for a month. It was for free. And in that month, it takes a month to break a bad habit, right? You can stop biting your fingernails in a month if you put your mind to it.
It takes like 3 days to form a bad one, right?
Yeah. And so they gave P the access to P for free for a month. And can you imagine me locked in your house for however long they were locked up in Europe in our houses?
Oh yeah, especially in Europe.
and just looking at pee.
And they did that specifically in Italy?
Well, it was in Europe. I
Oh.
read about it in Italy.
Oh, okay.
But it was in Italy. I'm sure they did it wherever they could.
Yeah.
They probably won't do it here because we're already addicted to it. Americans.
They've already got their
addicted.
customers.
I mean, they've
yeah.
already got their. I mean, I can tell the stats. I should have brought the data. I have a whole. Because I do talks on this every now and then, so
Yeah, right.
I have all these stats. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's really, it would
Yeah.
blow your mind. It's in the, I mean, these stats are just off the charts. So anyways, so then these poor people get addicted to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then they buy it. So if I want to get you addicted to methamphetamines, I give you a little sample,
Mm-hmm.
and I tell you, hey, come see me if you want some more.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what they've
Customer for life.
done, right? Customer for life. You get addicted to it, and it takes like one hit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've heard it takes one hit of meth and you can get addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what happens. These people, so these, I say, godless demons, are making this content,
Yeah.
and they're taking and the most of the actors and actresses are addicted to drugs.
Mm-hmm. Like
They
you
have to
said.
take these drugs just to numb themselves to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because no woman wants to be treated like that,
No.
abused like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to numb yourself to take that kind of punishment,
Yep.
and then the men as well. So these are godless people. They're demonic, you know, and so these dark spiritual forces that are at play are the people that make it, the lust, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when I talk to guys too, they go, "Oh, I look at pee," you know, and I just can't stop looking. I'm like, and then we get into some spiritual direction. I'm like, it's really not the pee as much as it's the lust. I know guys. I've talked to guys that never look at porn,
It's all right.
never look at pee, but they're into feet.
Oh yeah, that's a big
So
one.
they look at feet.
Uh-huh.
And some of them look at whatever, grandmas, old ladies, old men. There's so many different weird fetishes,
Yeah.
but they never look at pee.
Huh.
But they'll look at this and gratify themselves on that.
And even still, it's the same objectification, and when they
It's the
view
same
it and
thing.
feed into it, what they're feeding into
Right,
is so
but-
dangerous.
But I go back, what is it in the beginning though? It's lust. So, how do we crush the lust? Right? How do we get to the point where we can say when the desire comes on that you can crush the lust,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can lust after your wife.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if I lust after my wife and then she becomes a means to my end to satisfy my lust, that's mortal sin.
Mm-hmm. It's not love.
Most people say, that's crazy, that's your wife. That's mortal sin
Mm-hmm.
because I've used my wife as a means to my end,
Yep.
and I've used her,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's not God's intention
Mhm.
of intimacy, right? So it can turn into mortal sin even in your own marriage,
Right.
you know. And so I always talk, like, you have an issue with lust, you know. Tell me what do you have for toys? Oh, I got this. Okay, so you have a problem with lust,
Yeah.
right? Lust for possessions, lust for wealth, and it just goes down. Lust for sex.
And it's good to get to that root of the
you know,
problem
the
being
root,
lust.
right? It's when people come to me for spiritual direction, what are you dealing with? What sin are you dealing with? What do you mean? Well, I like to, whatever. I eat too much chocolate cake. Okay, so chocolate cake's your sin? Well, I like sweets. That's not your sin. Gluttony
Mm-hmm.
is your sin.
That's
so
me. I'm guilty.
Get it down here,
Yeah.
so we can start working out from there.
Yeah.
So name the sin, right? There's a sin involved with it. Once we name it, then we can start working
Yeah.
out from it. So it's a process. It's and just when you think, a new statistic will come out, you're like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so lust, I mean, I know a lot of guys that have issues with some form of pee. It might not be hardcore, but it's but when it comes down to it's lust, right?
Right.
One guy came to me and, he's like, because it's not just the viewing, it's the self-gratification they're dealing with. His turn on was when he texts a woman and she responds. And they have this communication with each other. Because he'll say things that arouse him,
Mm-hmm.
and if she answers it, not knowing that if I answer this, it's going to arouse him, that's his porn.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
Weird.
But we get back, you
Goes
dial
back
it
to the
down,
root.
you get it down to the roots. But, so, the P is the one thing, but a lot of times I get, so this is expanded into just P, self-gratification, and recognize how are we combating this, But I'll tell you, this world it's not good.
Not right now, no.
No.
There's always hope, though.
It's not good. There's always hope. Absolutely. We just have to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
We have to, be non-judgmental.
Yeah, even those
Right.
people that do the objectification and are objectified, they're still victims nonetheless. And
Sure.
even those that are creating it, they need our prayers and our charitable
Mm-hmm.
love towards them.
So what's the difference? Do you think God sees a difference with a man or a woman who looks at P? Is there a difference? Is there sin greater than the husband who ignores his wife, yells at his kids, maybe hits his wife?
Doesn't look at them any different.
Is that sin? Is their sin greater than mine, or this other guy's, or let's say the man or woman who look at porn, and then a guy who steals a car.
Mm-hmm.
Is their sin greater than his? Is his sin greater than theirs? No.
Especially when you look at, like you mentioned earlier, the downstream effects of how it affects the marital relationship, the family relationship, the household dynamics. It might be 5 seconds of fun, but the consequences are catastrophic in the household.
They are. They are catastrophic. I mean, and it's grave,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not saying that it's not a bad, like it's. What I'm trying to say is God's not up there at the scorecard. He's not
No.
like, oh, Daniel looks at P, but Austin, he's better because he only
does.
slaps his wife.
Right.
No, sin is sin,
Mm-hmm.
right? God doesn't keep score, but the ripple effects of sin is tremendous,
Mhm.
right? When you look at P, it affects your whole family.
Yeah.
It could destroy your whole marriage, but so can stealing a car.
Mm-hmm. So it's
Right.
not much different.
So, I mean, the ripple effects of our sins can be really, really catastrophic.
Yeah.
But I will say that not 85 to 87% of men are stealing cars,
This is true. Put in that
but they are looking at
perspective.
P.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely something needs to happen, right? We need as many people as we can helping men and women
Mm-hmm.
who are struggling with this
Absolutely.
problem.
And I've seen other ministries, other programs, even secular world ones that help people overcome this struggle. So it seems that there's been almost a increased movement to help people understand that this is a struggle and we need to combat it. Do you have any thoughts as to why we've seen an increase in that direction?
Well, yeah, I think that what's happened is mothers and fathers have finally realized that they need help too, right? So they're seeing they've seen the increase, and I think that the parish or churches, not just Catholic parishes, but churches in general, are seeing. I mean, how many times have you heard of you hear of pastors who have fallen,
Mm-hmm.
Protestant pastors, Catholic pastors
Mm-hmm.
who have fallen, because of this problem, and it's a scandal, right? Oh my gosh,
Yep.
we know it pretty close to our heart right now,
Yep.
right? So, but But I mean, and I think that people are starting to wake up. Like, we have a problem. This is a problem. And there's a lady on that I follow on Twitter, who has gone after P-Hub, and oh my gosh, she's great.
Yeah.
And she has she's helped get it closed down in Idaho.
Oh,
Like,
she helped with that movement?
There's like 10 or 12 states have now said banned P-Hub.
That URL is banned.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she's a tremendous force on combating P, and she's seen it. And hers is more of like the human trafficking aspect,
Right.
you know.
It's
But it's still work towards banning it.
It's a good means.
You know, and I so when I speak to, because I've been invited to the boys' camp and stuff, and I do my little talk, and
Yeah.
you know, and I explain to them everything. And I think that people are realizing that we have a serious problem. Every movie you watch, you can't even watch a movie without
Commercials.
some commercial or some scene in a movie that has no business being there.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch a movie on baking a cake, and they'll have some scene in there, objective scene that makes you look at, you know, like, and kids see it and they're intrigued for whatever reason. It's like, oh, this. And they see this, and it plays into their mind, because, you know, we're men and women at the end of the day. You know, they're women, we're men, they're younger men, and they're boys and girls, but they see it, and they know that, especially if a father or mother fast forwards it, they know something was happening.
Yeah.
And later they might go back and try to find it or whatever, but it's
yeah.
so strange. They know, like, oh, I shouldn't be. They don't want me to see that. So what is it?
They can memory bank the exact moment.
Yep.
To go back there.
So it's interesting, but I think that I think people are waking up. I really do. I hope people are waking up to the fact that, and, you know, preach about it. You know, I mentioned it quite a bit in my homilies. You know, this problem with P. You know, and I've mentioned about appropriate dress. You know, where we should, you know, and try to help, you know, help parents understand that it's okay to say no to some of the attire that kids want to wear, boys or girls.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not wearing that.
We men need to dress modest, just like women do.
The same thing. Like, we need to dress appropriately for society. You know, because if you know, do you want, you know, grown men screaming things at your teenage daughter? Then don't let her wear the stuff. I mean, it's what she wears. I mean, man should not be screaming stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely, right. We're men. We should be able to
handle ourselves,
control ourselves. But the reality is, they do.
And as for the individual, you know, that is dressing immodest, men and women alike, the aspect or the benefits of the internal benefits of being modest,
absolutely,
and chaste. It's from a video I saw. If you don't need to unveil everything,
right,
and you can veil to the eyes of others, and it's a way to protect the natural masculine and feminine beauty within.
Absolutely, and I think that you know, and I think a lot of people are embracing that now. I see it at Mass.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of younger girls who are not buying into this stuff anymore. Yeah. You know, they're not buying. Plus, it's exhausting for these kids.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I mean, trying to be desired, it can be exhausting for these poor kids. You know, so I think that they're starting to wake up themselves and say, I don't want that anymore. I don't want to have to be something I don't want to be. You know, I want to be myself.
Absolutely.
And so it's very reassuring to me that when I see these young boys come into Mass in ties and suits, or at least a collared shirt tucked in, you know, with their hair combed, it's very refreshing. It's reassuring to me that we're it's not quite, you know, we still have this problem, a high percentage of men and women looking at P, but we also have a good percentage of kids, younger kids now, that are starting to try to carry themselves orderly.
Right. You
know, dress modestly, live chastely, you know. And so there's a lot of hope.
Absolutely.
There is a lot of hope for me and for the coming generation, the younger generations. We went through a time, though, just not good.
Yeah, I feel like kind of like you started touching on the like our generation, the millennial generation, that we grew up what felt like it was at its peak, but everything can go higher, and we were all in a sense victims of it, and come out the other side, and we see how things can lead to it, and taking a proactive approach with our children to try and protect them and protect their innocence and help them to understand what it is and how to handle it, because we can't put them in a bubble. Like you said, you can see a magazine, you can go out, you can see yoga pants. It's like, so they know how to look at this stuff and perceive this stuff in society and to handle themselves.
Yeah. You know, and I tell men and boys, you know, even women, I'm like, you know, I always tell them, when you see a pretty girl or pretty woman, I always tell them, right there, you can't not unsee them. If they walk in front of you, right, you're like, wow, pretty woman. Lord, make me as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
Yeah.
Right. Make me as beautiful on the inside, and then walk away. Don't take that second look. Don't sit there and be a fool. And
becomes a sin when you do the second look.
Becomes a sin. You know, God created this beautiful creature. Appreciate it and walk on. You know, and when I say appreciate it, I mean for her beauty. Makes me as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
Glorify the Creator.
Right. Yeah. Glorify the Creator, not the creature. But I mean, and same thing with women, right? There's good-looking men out there. Make me as beautiful on the inside as he is on the outside. You know, and don't dwell on this stuff.
Right.
You know, you have to let it go. You have to have the custody of the eyes, custody of the mind, and let it go.
Absolutely.
So it's a challenge.
Absolutely.
Because the world is
a very dangerous place.
Very sexualized, my friend. It's overly sexualized. Everything is sexualized.
Everywhere you look.
It's sad.
And so with all the secular options for men and women struggling with this, why would you say they should turn to God?
Well, because we're going to hear about it this weekend. You know, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son.
Yeah.
You know, the thing in the Screwtape Letters, again, you know, Wormwood talks to his nephew, and he says, you know, in there he says, you know, you're going to see these people and blah, blah, blah. God, he tells them he loves them, but he says he actually loves them.
Amen.
He loves them. You cannot change that. What we can do is try to distort them from unbelieving, for them to not believe that he loves them, because he loves them with his whole heart. And he loves us, right? He loves each and every one of us.
Absolutely.
So no matter, I mean, if I catch my wife, I won't even say that. Let's say a husband catches his wife looking at porn or at pee. He may not be able to forgive her, but God will.
Absolutely.
Right? If you steal my car, I might not be able to forgive you, but God will, because God loves you. Amen. There's redemption for every one of us, right? Now, we have to pay the price of our consequence of our actions, right? If I look at pee, you know, and I can't control myself and my wife finally leaves me, that's a consequence to my actions. But at the end of the day, you can always turn to God, and he will love you with his whole. Even when you're looking at pee, he's right there with you, right?
And all he wants to do is help us.
All he wants to do is help us. I always tell people, just reach your hand out to the hand of grace, and God is there to lift us up out of the mire of our lives, right? Of our sin. He's there. For me, God is, I mean, I go to Mass every day. I mean, there's just there's zero, I can't think of anyone else who can help me more than God. He's there. And all I can do, and I, you know, when I talk to God, I'm like, man, I'm really upset today. You know, I feel like you abandoned me, like I was by myself. Yeah. But even when I'm by myself, he's there. In his light, we see light itself, right? Yeah. So I mean, he's always there with us, and he, if we trust in him, put all our whole heart into him, or give him our entire heart, he will be with us and he will lift us up. Absolutely. You know, and so we just have to let go and let God, again with this Curcio mantra, let go and let God. It's only until we actually, completely die to ourselves, when we throw our hands up and go, man, I've tried everything, God.
Yeah.
You have to do this for me. Just
Sure.
surrender to Him.
Mm-hmm.
He will lift us up. He will give us the courage to go on.
Mm-hmm.
He will give us. He will get us through it, and He can get us through it, and He can help us overcome whatever obstacle that's in our lives, whatever
Absolutely.
sin is in our lives. The problem is do we believe it? Right?
That's always a
I
challenge.
mean, I always tell people, Jesus Christ said in the Bible, if I had the faith of a mustard seed, I could tell that mountain to uproot itself and plant itself over there. I believe that. Because
too.
Jesus said it. I just don't have that kind of faith.
Yep. that verse
I believe
always
it.
gets me because I can feel it in my soul of it's indescribable.
I'm like, I believe it. And the lady who touched, if I could just touch the tassel,
Mm-hmm.
I will be cured. And she was,
Yep.
right?
She had that faith.
I mean, she had that faith. Only say the word, and my servant will be healed.
Mm-hmm.
He had that faith. And I'm like, gosh, if I could I want that faith, right?
Yeah.
And I'm constantly working on acquiring that faith,
Always.
But if we can get to the point where, Lord, I cannot do this on my own. I need you to take control, and help me get out of this mess. He will get you out of that
Mhm.
mess. It won't be easy.
Especially in a way you don't expect too.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be easy. You
No,
might,
not
you
at
might
all.
have to go through a lot of pain and
Mhm.
suffering. But if you can do it believing that on the other side of this pain and suffering is wholeness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And mercy and forgiveness. Why wouldn't you want that?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you want that? So that's the key. God is there. He doesn't ever force himself on us,
Yeah.
but He's there ready to lift us up and bring him to Himself.
Yeah.
We just have to do it, right?
Amen.
You just have to throw your hands up and say, I just can't do this anymore. I've done it.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm all yours. And once you do, you're never going to go back.
So
It's too nice. I mean,
it's such a great feeling once you have surrendered to God and you
Oh.
felt His grace in your life, and you understand you don't have to do it alone. You understand how much He loves you, and it's
Right.
like you said, you won't go back.
no.
Why would you leave
No,
that?
you won't. And you look at the crucifix, right? You go like, this man gave his life
Mm-hmm.
for long. I mean, I wasn't even but He knew us before. I mean, He knew every
Yeah.
hair on our head before we even were born.
It's like Jeremiah.
Right?
He knew
29:11.
knew us before we were
Right.
conceived.
It's just it's amazing, and it's so grace filled that once you taste it, all this other stuff just falls away.
Yep.
It's just, when St. Thomas Aquinas, when he had a vision of ecstasy, and he had written all these volumes, right? Just
Oh, yeah.
volumes of stuff. Eloquent speaker. I mean, he's Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
He had this. He was in ecstasy in the middle of Mass. He was celebrating Mass, went in ecstasy, and when he came out of it, he said, "Everything I've written, burn it.
Oh, is that when he said that?
It's all straw compared to God."
Is that so? He actually tried to burn a Summa, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
like I'm like,
Wow.
what the heck? It's all straw. I mean, right? You look at, Thomas Aquinas solves a lot of problems we have,
Oh yeah.
right? And it's like, wow. But he's like, it's all straw compared to God.
Absolutely.
So God can do anything if we ask Him. It won't be easy. It's not going to make it easy for us, right? Because that's what builds faith.
I laugh because we've all got our petitional prayers each day and everything. I've got certain ones, especially for conversion, and you just want God sometimes to just, I don't know, perform a miracle.
Absolutely.
And then you realize one day the way circumstances all work out, He basically says, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And you're going to be that person to help them. And you're
Right.
going to just, why me? I don't want to do it. Let's get someone else to do it.
Yeah, you duped me. Lord.
Yeah.
You duped me.
Like you
God.
said, it's not how you
I was like,
expect. It's going to be hard,
I
but
know, but it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. It's just so,
wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. I just want to please God every minute of my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be like. I gave a blessing to a lady. She was heading out on pilgrimage. I'm like, man, every word you speak, every breath you take, every word that comes out of your mouth, everything you do, every look, give glory to God. And that's what we want.
Yep.
Right?
Amen.
So in order to do that, we got to get rid of all this other junk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We got to get rid of the P. We got to get rid of the self-gratification, the lust, the anger, the all of our vices, everything, and get rid of it all and work on those venial sins too.
Absolutely.
Because multiple venial sins just could lead to mortal sin.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the imperfections, right? The Lord said, be as perfect like your heavenly Father is perfect.
Yeah.
If we can get to at least strive for perfection, get rid of all this other stuff, because you can do it. We can do it.
Takes a lot of effort, prayer, and grace.
If you had the faith of a mustard seed, you can tell that mountain uproot and plant itself over there. But we say to ourselves, I can't overcome this sin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
Right. And some of them are hard, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Like, I have my own sins I deal with. I'm like, oh my gosh, again. It's like, how many times am I gonna?
Yeah.
We're a work in progress, right?
Always.
We lean on the Lord. We constantly lean on Him, and He can help us.
Absolutely.
Overcome any sin.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that for me, I mean, putting your faith in God is the only way you're going to overcome this stuff.
Yeah.
You're not just going to, take a pill.
Nope.
You're not just going to, you can say, go home and smash your computer and your TV with a sledgehammer. That'll work for a while. Then you're going to buy another TV. Then you're going to buy another computer.
Uh-huh.
But until you, why are you smashing your TV and your computer? Because I love you more than this garbage. Then you can start.
Yep.
Then you can say, I don't want to offend you anymore with my sin.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to not offend you. I want to love you. I want you to love me. And that's why I'm doing this.
And by no longer offending God.
Yep.
You welcome in His grace.
All that stuff will start scaling off.
Yeah. You welcome in His grace, His gifts, His love.
Yeah.
And it's just people outside the faith, unfortunately, don't understand it until they jump in, like I once did, and it's just life changing.
Right? It's life
changing.
I mean, I love to see people coming into the at the Easter Vigil, all these people coming into the faith. I was like, wow, they made that choice. I didn't make that choice.
Nope.
My parents made that choice for me. God, thank God, right? But I mean, I see all these adult men and women. I'm like, they've made this choice. This is powerful.
It is very powerful.
It's like, wow. And they and a lot of them, when you talk to them, they're like, oh man, I was so lost. And they found their way home.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories are.
I love hearing their stories.
Oh my gosh. There's a lady that on Twitter who actually was a producer of P.
Wow.
And she came into the Catholic Church.
What a turn of events.
Oh my gosh. You hear that? I was like, man, I was reading her story. I was like, oh my, this is like very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
She's like totally into her faith. And I'm sure she regrets she probably prays on her knees every day for, just in misery, I'm sure.
Just like some of the big celebrities that left Hollywood and come into the faith. Shia LaBeouf, Kat Von D even is going.
Yeah, Kat Von D.
Yeah, and I can't remember the other guy's name, the English guy that he's just gone deep into the faith. And it's like you said, they're probably praying for their repentance for their mistakes constantly.
And God is so infinitely good. There's mercy and justice in God, though.
Amen to that.
Right? He will forgive you. You are redeemed. But unfortunately, there's consequences.
Yeah.
But there's mercy in that even,
Once we get through the consequences and welcome in His grace and His gifts.
Absolutely.
Life will never be the same.
And I hope that, men and women, whatever the situation is, if you're you're in a relationship where somebody's struggling, you find out, don't just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Try to help each other. Try to help your spouse or your boy. Well, I'll say spouse. Help he or she overcome this.
Yeah. Leads to a very fruitful and beautiful relationship.
Absolutely. You're open. You're walking the path of faith together.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting all your trust in God. Because on our own, it's too much.
Absolutely.
You're like, I'm too angry, I'm too hurt, but surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Surrender yourself to God. When we get married, it's not like until they upset you so much that it's okay to leave.
Until death.
Until death, right? And it's very painful. It can be very painful, but it can be so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many stories of men and women who've done something that would shatter marriage, but they come through and they're just poster children for marriage.
Yeah.
So it can definitely happen. You got to put your faith in God, your trust in God.
So many of the lives of the saints, so they had a vice, St. Augustine with the world, and then became saint and bishop and church father. St. Francis of Assisi lusted after the world, and then king of mortification, if I've ever heard one. All sorts. It's how God created each of us with a special purpose, and many of us are guilty of using those gifts in the wrong way, and then we come into the faith and it all just makes sense and works perfectly in the way he intended originally.
Absolutely. And the best thing is, as Catholics, we're nothing. Right? St. John of the Cross always said nothing, nothing, nothing. Right? We're nothing.
Dust of the earth.
We just have to be humble, right? Forgiving, loving, kind, compassionate, because those are all things I want from my God when I die, right?
Amen.
If I don't practice that, how can I possibly expect Him to show it to me?
Exactly.
So this ministry I have, this P ministry, it's you can email me.
You want to put your email out there?
My email.
Yeah, I'll put your email out there.
So you can email dgamboa@stpaulsnampa.org.
I'll put it in the description.
Yeah. Or call the office, 208-466-7031. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to call, because you're not going to get any I don't judge. I'm just here to help. So don't be afraid to, please don't be afraid to call. Only men, no women. If you're a lady, you can ask and I can try to find somebody, but don't be afraid, because there's freedom, right? And when I was at the cathedral, like I said, when I got so many, I actually started a group because I couldn't. It was taking up. It was too much.
Yeah.
It was like a full-time job. So
like 38 men. Right?
Yeah, I started a group, and we had a lot of guys, and then I had the group there, and I had another group outside of the church, and so between the two, I had like 38 guys, and so the group started to, and I give the group I made a structure for the group, so anyone can take it over. Like, I don't need to be there, right? And for one sense, it's like, I don't have this, I don't share this particular sin. So sometimes it's better just to talk amongst yourselves,
right?
And I can come in for spiritual direction, lead it, open and close it because I usually ran it at the same time I was leading adoration.
Oh, okay.
So I would expose the Blessed Sacrament, I'd go over here, and I'd sit there in my alb, and then I'd go back. And so it was a lot.
Yeah.
But they can do it on their own, right?
Right.
And that's what I would do is as more guys come forward, then I put them with like you said, a Silas. I talked about this. I picked that term up, obviously from the Bible, right? Silas was a companion to Timothy, and so he was a companion to Timothy, and they went together, right? So it's similar to to a sponsor
Yeah.
in AA. There's another group that I can't remember where I saw it, that they use that term Silas as well, and it just stuck with me. But a companion,
Yeah.
that you can talk to. I'm a companion of Silas to plenty of guys.
Yeah.
They'll just text me or whatever. They need help. They need to pray for them right away, so I do.
Yeah.
And so it's good to get a companion.
Mhm.
So if enough guys call, then we'll start that process here too.
Okay.
Just a matter of getting them to come forward.
Right.
There's a lot of them out there.
Absolutely.
There's definitely a lot out there that are ashamed, but there's no shame in it.
Right.
We're
all, like you said, we're all guilty
fallen.
in some ways and fallen in it.
fallen.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, my sin is no greater than anyone else's, and their sin is no greater than mine. I mean,
Exactly.
it's just sin,
Mm-hmm.
And there's redemption in it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time, Deacon. I'm sure that probably hopefully people reach out to you, and I'm sure that many people will take advantage of the tools that you've mentioned, and hopefully if they don't seek you, they find a group that's local or someone else that can help them.
Definitely. I'm sure there's other, it doesn't have to be the Catholic Church.
Right.
It can be, anywhere that you feel comfortable getting the help.
That's a big thing. Absolutely.
That's the greatest thing. So
It'll change their lives.
yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Deacon.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.